In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look at some colder air at times, some warmer times ahead, at least for flip-flopping. There is still an Arctic blast on the way, which somehow, I guess people just literally click my videos and don't even watch the first 10 seconds because I feel like I mention this every time at the beginning, but the definition of an Arctic blast isn't trying to say that we're going to be dealing with frigid conditions and snowfall. All I'm implying is that there is an Arctic air mass blasting down from the Arctic region into the United States. Arctic blast, simple enough. They typically are a little bit cooler than just a cold front, so it's going to be pretty cold compared to normal. We've dealt with them for a few weeks now. You know, I shouldn't have to explain really what it is, but constantly getting comments about that. But if you watch the videos, of course, you understand. But we're going to be dealing with storminess. We're going to be dealing with severe weather at times, especially the next few days, actually. We're going to dive into that later on in the video. So activity is just going to be pretty rampant throughout the entire video today. So let's just take a look at things, and we're looking at the temperatures first off. And it is nicer today. Again, there will be some warm-ups, and it depends on where you're at. But if you're along the Gulf and East Coast here, it's relatively nice. And also if you're in the Northwest there, it's relatively nice. We are dealing with some cooler conditions, mostly for the middle of the nation, particularly that Four Corners area into the plains. But still for the Midwest and Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, not the warmest day in the world. As we keep going, we're going to see a lot of the same there. And here comes that Arctic blast, Sunday the 8th. And if we were to look at the whole North America map, it would be very clear. You know, we'll do that. Why not? Just so I could show you what I'm talking about. But when we look at this, let's look at where this air mass originates from. Way up there in northern Alaska, far northern Canada. People don't even live up there. It's the Arctic Circle. And we are going to see this air mass blast down. The main reason for this is we're getting this warm air mass that wants to set up, pushing northward, and it kind of, in tandem with this warm air mass, squeezes it to where it has to slide to the southeast out of the way of all of this. So watch it play out. Again, watch right here. It's going to blast down over time. Let's watch this play out, guys. See it just kind of move all the way down into the eastern states until we get to a point like this. I'll play it again, but it's a pretty violent movement. It's moving very quickly into the eastern states there. And really, when we see these really pop off is when we get these violent areas of warm air called a positive PNA along the west, and we are seeing that in full swing effect here. So let's go back to the United States view. This is by Sunday the 8th, and we see that the cold air is moving in. By Monday the 9th, we really see it fully embedded into the central states, at least partially for the east. And by Tuesday the 10th, it's certainly around. This is an ensemble model, so we do lose some of the intensity over time. This is 30 different models, and we're taking the mean average of all of them. So obviously, if they start to disagree a little bit, we end up with a little bit of an averaged outlook where we're only getting the lighter blues and darker blues, but in reality, once we get to this point, in all likelihood, there would be, 10, 15, 20 degree below normal temperatures for a lot of areas dealing with this major cool down by Tuesday the 10th. Sticks around the 11th, 12th, 13th, and the only time we get signs of warming is as we reach the midway point of the month here. This is the 14th, and it is a low temperature, but we're dealing with some warmer than normal condition. The daytimes are a little bit less hot, as you can see, where there is still some cold air around. But the biggest change that we're seeing at times, not the full model run, but we are starting to get some colder air trending in for this western area, which would be a negative PNA, and this actually would encourage warming throughout the central and throughout the eastern states here. So certainly a very good look. As we keep going through the pattern, we do get more warming signs, and then we end up with things like this. This is Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the 18th, and we get more of a backdoor cold front look where it looks like some cold air wants to move in, but from the eastern areas of Canada down through the eastern states. We call that a backdoor cold front. We're still dealing with mostly cooler than normal conditions along the west, but most of the warmth is heading straight for the central states. So even when we should be in a warmer pattern, we're struggling to do so here, which is aggravating. Very, very aggravating. As we keep going, we see a lot of the same all the way through the end of the model run, and unfortunately, by this point, the 21st, it looks like some warmth is rebounding out there for the west, maybe ushering in another positive PNA as we reach towards the late portion of June. Hopefully not. I mean, I hope that we get a summer at this point. It feels impossible. I know that we will, obviously. At some point, this will break up between now and July and, God forbid, August. But at some point, we will see a warmer than normal pattern this summer. But it just seems so impossible right now. And the models keep pushing back that date for when this will be ending. And really, at this point, we don't have an ending date in sight. It's out of sight. So really crazy stuff. Looking at some of our storminess, typically abnormal patterns like this with more cold fronts coming through, more Arctic blasts, is going to lead towards more activity and more severe weather, as even when the cold air is pushing in from Canada like this, we're still getting our typical push of warm air, humidity from the Gulf here that we get throughout the summer. They're just kind of hashing it out. And when that happens, we get a lot of this, just turbulence, lots of thunderstorms, lots of severe weather. And that is, in fact, what we're seeing here. Friday the 6th, as we reach towards Saturday the 7th, we're watching many areas for some severe weather. Right now, very large slight risk, so level 2. Wouldn't be surprised at all if we see an enhanced risk at least upgrade in some of these areas. As we reach towards Sunday, we're mostly going to be looking at the southeast for a slight risk of severe weather. And as we move towards Monday, we get this pretty intense low. The dynamics are crazy here. We get this warm front look out there, cold front look here. And I think along this cold front, we have to definitely watch for some severe weather threats by Monday the 9th, as that looks very intense. And again, we're getting this cold, dry air moving in behind that boundary, and we're getting the warm, humid air moving up the East Coast. It's always a recipe for some severe weather activity along these frontal boundaries, and we have that at play possibly by Monday on the 9th. Tuesday the 10th, that is arriving for the East Coast. Still some thunderstorms for the Gulf states. We talked about this over the last few days, but once that cold front moves through, it's almost daily chances of thunderstorms in these areas. And it's not going to be everybody. It's not like you're going to be hit at your house every single day, but there's just going to be an inherent chance daily of some thunderstorms. I'm sure somebody in there is going to get a thunderstorm every day for like 3 or 4 days in a row. But again, that's not going to be for everybody. They're going to be isolated in nature. Thursday, same thing. And at the same time, we look like we're getting some low pressure going for Wyoming and Colorado. Definitely worth noting. Friday, we get some broad low pressure throughout the kind of eastern Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota area. We get a little bit of a cold front look here. Could be another severe weather threat there by Friday the 13th. Wouldn't surprise me. Saturday, that moves up into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley area. By Sunday the 15th, this is arriving more so for the Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. But still, the Gulf states seeing isolated thunderstorms, so it's hard to rule out anybody for activity. Then by Monday, we do see this low actually wants to develop into a little bit of a nor'easter. It does move offshore, thankfully, on this model run, but it is 10 days out, so things can certainly change some details. So we'll be watching for any changes that might occur there with the current guidance. As we move towards Tuesday, we see that low move up into Canada. Wednesday on the 18th, it's an interesting day. We get mostly precipitation up here to the north, some deeper south, humid thunderstorms, more tropical thunderstorms in nature. Thursday, really a lot of the same. We do get a stronger low, as you can see, between Thursday and Friday, 19th, 20th, there for Minnesota, but we don't get the strongest cold front look underneath it. So we'll have to watch if this even occurs this way, but frequent lows moving through that area isn't going to be a good thing. And we actually have another one forming there at the end. So more activity on the way for more of these northern areas, perhaps, is what the models are suggesting here in the long range towards the 15th, 20th time frame. But take it with a grain of salt. That is very far out at this point, but that is the trend as of now. And we will continue to track the trends, obviously, every single day, as we always do. Looking at the total precipitation, we have seen some of the southern areas die down a little bit. It's not looking quite as crazy, but in general, if you're in the reds, you're doing really good for a 15-day period. Areas to the north are increasing, though, so we're seeing this kind of quadrant for the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast. These areas in general are increasing and trending upward as far as precipitation. Looking at the anomalies here, again, there is still some pockets of above average here in the deeper south, but it's just not as intense as it was a couple of days ago. These areas, on the other hand, have actually increased in the expected precipitation compared to normal, so keep that in mind. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, here's day one for Friday on June 6th. Very large general thunderstorm risk area in the lighter greens, and that is where we expect general thunderstorms. We don't expect severe weather, though. But these are very, very tricky forecasts, so be sure to heed every watch warning and advisory still, because these things do end up overperforming many, many times. Looking at the darker green area, that's going to be your level 1 marginal risk, where we expect isolated severe weather to occur. And then we have a small yellow area for New England, a larger one back there for the plains and deeper south. That is your level 2 slight risk, where we expect scattered severe weather to occur. And then the 2 orange areas there for the 4 corner states and southern plains is going to be your level 3 enhanced risk, where we expect more widespread severe weather to be happening by Friday on the 6th, today. I don't know why I said it that way today. Tomorrow, for Saturday on June 7th, we have, again, very large general thunderstorm risk area, 2 marginal risks, a large slight risk area, and now I'm just seeing we do actually have an upgrade to an enhanced risk for Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Don't even be surprised if that actually expands, because this is a very large slight risk area, and I think that there is a pretty elevated chance of severe weather for many different areas there tomorrow on Saturday the 7th. Looking towards Sunday on the 8th, we have, again, large general thunderstorm risk area, large marginal risk, 2 slight risk regions, one for the southeast, one for the plains there, and then even an enhanced risk at this point for Texas and Oklahoma. So a third day in a row with at least enhanced risk. Definitely looking very, very impactful. We even have one extended day outlook, and this is for Monday on the 9th, where we see the deeper south, like East Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida Panhandle, and maybe even a little bit of Georgia, at least expecting a slight risk for Monday the 9th. And oftentimes when they kind of issue these in the long range, we see even more, as we've seen the last couple of days that are upcoming. We see enhanced risks now. We started out with this yellow area, and we ended up getting it enhanced once it moved closer. So could go that way for Monday as well. With all that being said, we upload every single day. Be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload, so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.